Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Who is Who in America on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. We're very fortunate to have with us in Alhikmat studio Dr. Aisha Khan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and walaikum assalam. First, I want to say thank you for having me here, and I'm here, and I'm very excited to talk to you and see how
Discuss and let the world know a little more of who you are. I
Okay.
really want the world to know who you are.
So
to
I
our
give my introduction.
Yes, so to our viewers out there, stay tuned. We have a very interesting session coming up with Dr. Aisha Khan. She has a very unique background and personality. So we're going to be talking to her about her background and when she came to America and what made her get into her profession and her career. We're looking at her bio here. She is specialized in cell biology, microbiology, immunology, biochemistry, and the whole 9 yards. She is the executive director at the University of Miami, to be specific, at the Interdisciplinary Stem Cell Institute at UM. She has 29 years of experience in this field. So stay tuned as we continue this conversation with Dr. Aisha on her background, her career, and whatever advice she has to share with our viewers worldwide. So once more, welcome back to the show, Dr. Aisha. So we're going to make this very simple and easy. Tell us a little bit about when you came to America, because we got viewers all over the world. That's what social media is all about. That's what all the whole talk shows, everything now, it's YouTube and social media. So tell us about a little bit about when you came to America. And I was checking out your bio, where you were saying that many people come to America to study,
Right.
but you came to America because you got married.
Right.
And then when you ended up here, then you went on to the profession and the career. And this is a very, very, very unique career in being the executive director in the research department when it comes to cancer, stem cells, microbiology, the whole depth of science. So basically, you are a professor and you are a scientist by your profession. So tell us, let's begin from when you came to America and why you came to America.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, coming to America, that was 29 years ago when I moved here. And a lot of girls or, boys, they come to get education. I got married to a man who lives here, so I just followed him. And when I came here, I was really excited because, that was like not something I have dreamed or like come to America and start my career here. That was not part of my plan, but when I moved here, I was super excited and I was nervous too. I was only 21 years old, was pregnant, 8-month-old. I traveled while I was 8 months
Wow.
pregnant. And but definitely I was very excited.
But I
coming
like
to
that. Listen, I'm going to be stopping you here and there.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is what will make the show very interesting, because you got a very interesting background. So I got to touch here and there from an educational point of view. So you came when you were 8
21.
months pregnant.
Yes, exactly.
Tell us a little bit about that. And we will let you continue the story, right? We're going to keep our viewers in suspense.
Yeah.
What about this 8 months pregnancy and flying? You don't need to tell us the whole 9 yards. How safe is that? Is it real? Is it not real anymore? Once upon a time, airlines never allowed you to fly when you were 8 months pregnant. What is all about it? Is it because they don't want you to deliver the baby in the country you're going to? It's dangerous for the mom, the baby. What is it all about?
I just like everybody else mentioned it to me that don't go, just wait, have your kid, and then you can go to U.S. But it was me. I said, no, I want to have this baby where my husband is. So I just took a chance. When you're 21 years old, you take chances, you take risks. So I asked my mother-in-law to come with me, and she came with me, she traveled with me. And I just said, I need to be where my husband is to have this baby. And then I just came, and even though I had a whole month to go, but as soon as I arrived here, 7th day, my daughter, Miran Khan, she was born. It was really
how many days after?
seventh day when she was born.
Wow.
Yeah. So she was a little early, but thank God, healthy little baby. Treasure of my life. So yes, I took a chance. Maybe not everybody should, but it worked out for me.
Good. All right, so you came here, had your first baby, and what went on? How did you ended up into this very sophisticated scientific career? A career that is so deep into all the topics of today: vaccine, vaccinations, cancer, stem cells. What made you get into that profession? What was the whole idea, and how you got into etc.? But tell us the profession first.
Sure. So I finished my bachelor's or graduate school right when I got married, and my area of interest was biochemistry. So medical field is something I was always interested in, and I studied there. I moved here, and then as I mentioned, that 7 days later I had baby. So I got busy initially with taking care of little baby, and then I always wanted to go back to either school or work. So I have a very good friend, and he's our relative too. He used to work in American Red Cross back then. His name is Shakil Ahmed, wonderful person, and I will always be grateful to him that he was the person who basically helped me. We all need that one person who tells us this is what you can do and this is where you should try. So he helped me finding my first job, which was in American Red Cross. And I worked there for 4.5 years as a medical technologist. And what medical technologists do, we test blood and to make sure when it is infused to people, it is safe. So that's what my first job was, and I liked it a lot.
With Red Cross?
With American Red Cross.
Okay.
I worked there 4.5 years, taking care of my baby, building house, and
I didn't get to ask you, so what profession is your husband into?
He is, by training, he is a computer programmer, and that's what his degree is in, and then he works with government, and right now he is heading the procurement information technology department.
With the government?
With the government.
That is very high tech, as we would see.
Yes,
right?
yes, he's the one with brain. Then I work in American Red Cross. A great job, I loved it, but the way my mind works, I like challenges, and that was very structured job. Like I knew every day what I will be doing. So I got little I need to do something. Maybe research is something which will make me, happy, and then it will give me challenges. So then I moved to University of Miami in Diabetes Research Institute, and I worked there for 16 years. We developed a lot of protocols and clinical trials focused on type 1 diabetes. Then almost and I learned so much there, and that's where basically I started my research career. And when I started research, I felt that this is something really nice. Yes, when you're a physician, you are treating people, but you need scientists who are coming up with these treatments, who are doing this research, understanding how human body works, understanding how these cells work, how vaccine and drugs work. So I really liked it, and then 7 years ago, within the University of Miami, I moved for a better opportunity, I moved to Interdisciplinary Stem Cell Institute, which is a platform where University of Miami provides assistance to all of the researchers. So basically my job there is that if you are a researcher and you have an idea, you come to me and you said, Aisha, I want to develop that. Help me. So I will show you the whole path. Like, now after COVID, a lot of people have quite a lot of knowledge on how these FDA approvals work, what a drug company or a vaccine company needs to do to go through the process. So this is like, I do basic science for these people, and then I test their therapy or technology on animals. I help them testing on animals or preclinical work, and then we take that information to regulatory agency here in United States, which is Food and Drug Administration, and go through the whole process of getting approvals. And there are many phases of these trials. You have to do phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trial before a therapy or a or a device can be actual treatment or approved. So this is what I do, and that's this job has given me a lot of opportunity. I travel a lot. I go to different places, and I give people lecture and give education and training that how we do it here in the United States and how they can improve upon. And I have.
So when you say you travel to other universities in other countries to explain to them, or other medical institutions? What sort of facilities do you go to in foreign countries to share your experience and knowledge?
Yes, so it's all of the above,
Okay.
Everything you mentioned. Universities mainly, because we are university, so our collaboration.
So you would go on behalf of the University of Miami
University
to other
of Miami.
international universities to share this whole scientific experience.
Right, and also companies, a lot of biotech companies in countries like Singapore and China, Taiwan. So they invite us, and sometimes they want us to assess their operations or how their trials or research work is, and sometimes they ask us to give lectures for training purposes. So it's like, and some are just like, I have gone to Pakistan also for my collaboration, where I give lecture and I train people to do what I do here. So that's very like, I really like that. And this is like, some are collaborations of universities, some are organizations, some are just, companies. So this is like,
Very deep. That's very deep. So tell us a little bit about your doctorate. Everybody, when we say it's doctor, I mean, most of the times people are aware of the regular field that someone will have a PhD in medicine, and maybe some sort of something to do with history and geography and whatever. But what area do you have your doctorate in?
So my career and my academic background is it's not very conventional.
I know, that's why I'm asking you. It's not the regular doctorate.
Yeah,
people don't get it in that.
I did things, I think, in reverse. So when I moved here, I had a bachelor's degree in biochemistry, and I worked for many years. I did not go back to school because I had responsibilities and I needed a job more than going back to school. And then after I was working in University of Miami, I realized that now I think I should try to. I have two girls, so they were a little big, and then I said, I think I can study now. So I did MBA first, and I really like it. I forgot to mention it to you that I own two companies of my own, so I have that business.
So we need to know the companies. What companies you have?
Yeah, so I have that business mind. So I said, and I loved it. But my field is research, so then I said, I should probably, and then I did and waited a few years, and then go back to finish my school, and that is in healthcare administration and public health. So it's just like, usually people And then I did a lot of research to related to my PhD. So it's just a little different than how usually people do. They do their school and then they work. And
so on a natural field, what would we say you have your PhD in?
it is in public health.
Public health. And you had mentioned something else before we came on the show. Public health and something else.
Epidemiology.
Epidemiology. So I think we would love to hear a little more about that when we come back. We got to go on a short break, and when we come back, we want to talk a little bit about your some of the services, some of the things you have done. You know, we have in this first segment spoke about what made you, what motivated you to become who you are. So we would like you to share with our viewers, and I mean, this is how viewers benefit. You have students out there, you have moms out there, you have people who would love to get into maybe the field. It's a difficult field, but it will motivate them, and some of the things that your department would have accomplished in some areas of the research. I know you were telling me about the ideas all about vaccine for research on vaccine for cancer. That is something people are dreaming of to see happen. You know, we may want to talk a little bit about the present day vaccination and COVID. You know, you're hearing some people say don't take it, some say take it. What is your scientific take on that? What do you suggest, and what do you see on the take and don't take of the present vaccination? We'd like to touch a little bit on these topics as a scientist. You know, we don't always find a scientist like you around and that we can talk to and get some of these ideas, because you are basically in the research department. You see, you got some people in the medical department, which is all about money. It's all about the business aspect. We know that. So that's no problem. That keeps the wheels spinning, right? But the people who are deep into research, that's a whole different territory. So to our viewers out there, when we come back after the short break, we're going to continue a little bit on this conversation on what advice Dr. Aisha has to share with us on her experience and her profession when it comes to vaccination, comes to stem cell, etc., etc., etc. So stay tuned when we come back, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah gives hikmat, wisdom, to whomsoever He wills. And whomsoever is given wisdom is certainly given a lot of good. Only the people of understanding will benefit from the reminder. Tune in to alhikmattv for khutbahs, lectures, and Islamic reminders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the Quran, in chapter 5, verse 67, Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa illam taf'al, fama balagta risalatahu. Very deep. Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to spread the message of the Quran. And he told the Prophet, and if you do not spread the message, you did not fulfill the mission of the messenger. So you and I are followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we can afford one Quran, help us join in distributing the Quran. So if you can't afford one Quran, do it. $3. 10 Quran, $30. 100 Quran, $300.
Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to Who is Who in America on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Once more again, it is a pleasure to have with us in Alhikmat studio Dr. Aisha Khan. And for those of you who have just tuned in, we have been talking a little bit about her background and what motivated her to get into her career, because she is the executive director at UM, the University of Miami, to be specific, with the Interdisciplinary Stem Cell Institute. So we are going to talk to her a little bit about her advice and experience and some of the experiments in the scientific field in her 29 years that she has come across. So stay tuned as we continue the conversation. So while we were on the break, you mentioned something very interesting, and we're jumping from different topics because, science is such an interesting field. Like we always tell people, the human body is so very scientific, so very spiritual. It's a bond with the soul and the body, and both has their unique technicalities, yeah? So while we were on the break, you were talking about your two companies, and I got to jump a little bit onto this now because that is still fresh in my mind. And one of the company, you said it's a biomedical company, where you guys do consultation on drugs. So what about these drugs? What if someone wants to develop a drug? They consult you. What do you guys exactly do? And I'm sure viewers worldwide who are listening to this, they may be able to contact you. They may have an idea. They may have someone who want to do this, and they will contact you. So what is this drug that they have to consult your company on?
So yes, thank you. I've been working in this research for almost 30 years. So first 15, 20 years, I learned a lot. And then I also realized that there are gaps. People want to develop drugs, cellular therapy treatments, but they don't know how. The process of getting approval, how to start your studies and what to do, it's not known to everyone. So me and my business partner, we talked about it, and we said maybe we should offer a consulting in that area where people need help. So with this in mind, we started a company where we provide consulting of like researchers who want to.
So tell me, for example, what drug? For example, what it is a person wants to come up with, what drug, what idea. Give us an example.
Yes. So
that they're thinking about, and then they will contact you.
Yeah. So we help everybody. Like, there are some people, like I have an idea, and I go to somebody like me, and I say that, I know this type of cell, if I try on, preclinical, like before human, if I try, it will work. Can you help us? So then we teach them how to do studies where your data can be taken to Food and Drug Administration and can be reviewed. And also, some people come to us with all of this already done, and they want us to help them how to put these applications together in a presentable form where we can present it to FDA for review. Before pandemic, I think not many people knew how these processes work, but now, like on TV, we hear all the time how these vaccine companies have gotten approval, so people have more awareness. So maybe they can understand what kind of services or what kind of help we provide to investigate it better. So this is what we started, and we did really well, because when we got into this, we realized that how many people need help, and we help people. Some we took them from like an idea to a complete approval. It's a long process to get a drug or a treatment or cellular therapy treatment approved. It takes many years and a lot of financial support. So
on a layman term, somebody has an idea about an herb that can cure a certain sickness. So they come to you with that idea.
Yeah.
They can come to you and say, listen, this leaf we have discovered looks phenomenal when we chew it. And I'm not talking of marijuana here now, it's just any regular fruit or vegetable. When we chew it, we find that it helps us with so and so. How could we put this in a tablet form? So those are the kind of ideas somebody will come to you, and you will tell them ifs and buts, do or not to do, and what they can do or what they should do.
How to test it, how to test safety, efficacy, and how to generate data, and how to put those applications together. And we help them putting those applications together, what FDA looks for, what other regulatory agencies are requesting, and then take it to go through the approval process, and then do clinical trials, actual trials on human, how to do interpretation of that data, how to do statistical analysis on that data, how to take that data back to Food and Drug Administration and ask for the approval of drugs. How you all see
How to get the whole 9 yards and get it on the shelf of the pharmacy at the end of the day.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. So tell us a little bit about that naval cord that we were talking about. When people are more known to the terminology naval string.
Yes.
That cord, right? Which is so very, very, very interesting in a baby and the birth of a baby and the development of a baby. Wow. I was looking at a video once and I was amazed that the cord sometimes wraps around your neck and all these sort of things.
Yes.
The navel cord in this little baby wrapped up, it wraps the neck and you got to be so very careful. But look at Allah's work, Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. A baby is formed in such a unique and sophisticated way that it's impossible for any human being to create those ideas.
Absolutely.
We could only study those ideas. We can't think about it. It is not normal. It's not natural. But anyhow, you were talking about the idea of saving blood from the navel cord, or what people call the navel string. Tell us, that's a company you have, right?
Yeah.
And this is a company you guys developed with your 29, 30 years of research that would be able to help people later on after they're born if they develop any kind of diseases, etc. So tell our audience a little bit about that.
Sure. So back in 2015, me and my business partner, we acquired that umbilical cord, like medical terminology is umbilical cord blood bank. So what we do there, or we did in past, is that when baby is about to be born, parents contact us. They want to save the blood coming out of that cord for future medical needs of their children, or even their children, the kid who that belongs to, siblings of that kid too, can be used. So they contact us, and there is a process of collecting that and saving it in a way where cells inside in that stay viable. So we did that for many years, and it's like recently, few years ago, me and we decided to also go in a direction where we can do these storing of your blood and bone marrow and other material we have inside of us for adults too, not only children. So that's what basically is, though. We store cord blood or human adult blood for future medical needs or applications. So right now, it's like for many diseases in the area of cancer, cord blood transplantations are successfully being used. University of Duke here in United States have a lot of work done, and we also collaborate with them. So it's research. Research is evolving every day. We are like researchers like me are working on these to have these cells grow, where we can treat successfully these diseases and more than once. So we're working on that. So hopefully future will bring us a lot more treatments in the area of cancer, heart problems, lung problems, or to be able to handle pandemics like how we went through, or we're still going through, COVID-19. So yes, it's really exciting, and under that umbrella of like that company, we do all of that type of research work.
And that is interesting because I grew up always hearing people burying the navel cord.
Right.
It's always very famous that people would do that, and here you guys got this research now where you are saving the blood from it that it can help the baby when the baby grows up, or the siblings of that baby. That
Yes.
that sends me to a very spiritual connection, where Allah in the Quran speaks in chapter 4, Surah Nisa, the woman, verse 1, about the connection to the womb of a mother.
Right.
Isn't that interesting? How, the blood ties and the whole connection, that the womb of the mother is that seat of Allah's rahmah, mercy. So now scientifically and blood-wise, that's why we say blood ties, because there is a connection from a mother to the siblings, to her children, who are siblings,
Yes.
right? And they would all have some kind of scientific, physical connection, especially with the blood. And here, your research is leading to down the road where there may be some sort of problem, and this blood can help. The blood of one of the child can help
Yes,
the
exactly.
siblings. That is so interesting. And I mean, you're talking about it from a scientific point of view, and I'm just reflecting on that connection that Allah speaks about, the connection with the womb of the mother.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
It's so, it boggles, of course, my mind to see, and amazes me that how what you're just saying, like translating to that, how in something like that, it's just few mLs of blood, less than that, and has so much nutrition, so much
Wow.
of the because of course it's providing life to a baby, that people in labs can take I don't know how many years to put chemicals together and not be able to produce what this blood has, and other things coming with baby, like the fluid, the whole fluid where baby is all cushioned and protected. I mean, I'm doing a lot of research on that too. It's amazing to see what nutrition that fluid carries.
Interesting.
So it's like, you're absolutely right. It is like,
So could we
little bit
go back?
spiritual.
Could we go back into if the navel string, which is connected to the mom, right? I mean, I'm just getting into layman term. You got all the biological, medical, technical terms. Therefore, I mean, down the road, there may be some connection back to the mother's blood and the mother's something that might be able to help children. I don't know.
Yes, exactly.
Her blood or something from her, because if you're talking about all that chemical in which the baby's cushioned into, in this round little, this big baby is this small little thing.
Yes.
Wow, that is phenomenal. Or the leg is over the head, one foot is over the head in the womb of the mother. So well packaged. I don't think Amazon can do any packaging like that.
That is
Amazon
so true.
package for the world. Nobody could do a
Nobody could
packaging
do
like a baby in a mother's womb. Honest, Dr. Aisha, I was looking at a video recently inside the womb of a mother, how the baby looks. My mind was just blown out to pieces. And I did see that. The cord was wrapped around the neck, and I'm like, one little mess, the baby can die. The feet is around here, one foot is, I'm saying, subhanallah. And then that baby is born in the most beautiful way. Allahu Akbar. But anyhow, when we come back, talking about that, maybe we should touch a little bit on I mean, I know you're into blood and blood cells and stem cells. That tells us a little bit about the milk of the mother. There's some great depth into the milk of a mother. Someone was mentioning to me recently about, the quantity of milk that a mother has. It's not just for breastfeeding the baby, but the milk itself is so healthy that it helps so many other things, and there are a lot of things that milk is a cure for, prevention of bacteria and other things. It's subhanallah. It is beyond, and I think human beings will spend their entire life researching, and we may not be able to complete the research, but we got to keep it going.
Absolutely.
But anyhow, when we come back, and to our viewers out there, we got to go on a short break, but when we come back, We want to talk to Dr. Aisha a little bit about vaccination, because we heard her talk about the idea and the research about developing a vaccine for cancer. Is that possible? Is it in the pipeline? A little bit about the vaccination for COVID, etc. So stay tuned. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah gives hikmat, wisdom, to whomsoever He wills. And whomsoever is given wisdom is certainly given a lot of good. Only the people of understanding will benefit from the reminder. Tune in to alhikmattv for khutbahs, lectures, and Islamic reminders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the Quran, in chapter 5, verse 67, Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa illam taf'al, fama balagta risalatahu. Very deep. Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to spread the message of the Quran. And he told the Prophet, and if you do not spread the message, you did not fulfill the mission of the messenger. So you and I are followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we can afford one Quran, help us join in distributing the Quran. So if you can't afford one Quran, do it. $3. 10 Quran, $30. 100 Quran, $300.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Who is Who in America on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. It is indeed a pleasure once more to have with us in Alhikmat studio Dr. Aisha Khan, who is the Executive Director at the University of Miami, the Interdisciplinary Stem Cell Institute to be exact. She's a professor and a scientist. And you don't have many ladies who are professors and scientists, and many Muslim ladies who are professors and scientists. So we're very blessed to have with us in the studio Dr. Aisha Khan, who is a professor and a scientist at the University of Miami. So, Dr. Aisha, I know you got to be very careful when you talk science and when you talk medicine, because of all the legality and the technicalities around it. But you know, because I deal with human beings, my profession is lecturing to human beings, so I love to talk things that will motivate human beings. That's who I am. Whether motivate them to study, motivate them to pray, motivate them to be a better human being. That's what I like. That's why we run this show. A lot of people ask me, so why you waste all this time talking to people? I said, you know what? When we talk to people of different profession, the viewers out there learn a lot. They learn so much. You might motivate a lady to want to get into this profession.
Right.
Because, I mean, you agree with me that there are not very many men in this profession, far less for women.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Not that they're not, but in comparison to all the heart specialists and everything else, kidney specialists, but you hardly have researchers like this, you see, like, that you are into. So now that you were talking about the naval cord and what people call the navel string, and I'm talking for the layman because that's what they hear out there. If that has great possibilities of cure for a baby after becoming an adult, their siblings, the brothers and sisters, the root of that cord is the mother. All right? So we gotta have some kind of research done with the mother, what you can get from the mother that can help these babies later on.
Right, exactly.
So there are many things, but mashallah, let's just touch on one of the the topic or that thing that is well known. If that's the one thing that people know, nobody really, not many people other than doctors and people like yourself go into the womb and study the research and the history. But it's one thing we know: when a baby is born, we know about the milk of the mother that feeds the baby, right? All the inner connections, that's done. So you mentioned a nice point that people are doing research about the milk. Tell us, I mean, what would you like to share with our viewers? What possibility, if you see the connection I'm getting at,
Right.
if the blood from the navel cord can have possible cure for future diseases and problems, what about that milk that was so beneficial for that baby's growth? And all doctors say, that's it. That's the milk that benefits the teeth, the bone, and everything from the origin of the baby. So what about that milk? Could we store that for later on? Tell me what's going on. What research is out there for that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We can store that. Unfortunately, I'm not directly doing
that
research
field,
in that field, but I have read and heard that there are many institutes analyzing the composition of breast milk, and just to see. And it is like, I mean, as you said, of course, it's the only thing a kid drinks for many years, right? So it has a lot of nutrition and so much in that. So people are doing a lot of detailed research to analyze what's in it, and storing them and freezing. It's not something difficult at all, because this field is pretty developed how to viably store material of that nature. So yes, I mean, I completely get your point that this is something that maybe I should look into, right? More.
Maybe I should come up with a drug, as you were
Exactly.
saying, with the milk of a mother, and how we could put it into a tablet form. I'm just, listen, people may think we're mad, but that's how scientists come up with ideas.
Yes, exactly.
Some tablet, something from that mother's milk that I'm sure later on it's going to help. But you know what? That can be a big business, Dr. Aisha.
Yes.
Because hear what? Most women nowadays don't breastfeed. And they got the milk. So they might develop a pump that they will just store this milk and sell the milk.
Right.
So it might be $1 billion business.
Absolutely, yeah.
Women will be selling breast milk. They won't have to work anymore. I'm just kidding. Listen, if something comes off that, a tablet can be a cure for cancer, a cure for prevention of diseases like COVID that is in existence.
Yeah, or just preventing the helping with aging process.
I like that. Aging
Nutrition,
process.
giving your body nutrition to prevent to get other diseases, like more of the maintenance of your health.
Because the milk and the kind of nurturing that baby gets in the womb of a mother prevents that baby from so many diseases and sicknesses that even sometimes, 90% of the time, if the mother has sicknesses and other problems, 90% of the time, the babies don't born with those sicknesses.
Yes.
It's very rare that the baby will be born. So that baby has a different kind of security. So whatever is the medical and scientific means that God uses, it's all the mercy of God, we know that, but you follow the point that God uses. We got to research on that and see how it can help later. Maybe you're right, aging
Yes,
might
exactly.
make people feel younger and look younger like a baby.
Right, and everybody wants that nowadays, right? Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, I know you're a specialist also in this area of clinical research and drugs and other areas. So what is really, and how the COVID vaccination, I know we hear a lot about it on the media, but just to have you share this with us, why do you think people have all this problem about not wanting the vaccine if there would have been clinical research? And how do they go about doing a clinical research, especially COVID vaccination? And we're sharing this so that the people who don't want it or who want it, we can understand a little bit about its history.
Yeah. So, everybody, I respect people to have an opinion. It's like some people don't want it. I understand that. But I am in this field, and these are my colleagues doing this research. So, and here the process is so rigorous in the United States due to FDA's involvement and, review process. I mean, I trust our science and outcome 100%. So, I mean, I tell people to all our lives, right? We have trusted health in this FDA and their approval process. Did anyone question when 15 years ago there was more than 20 years ago there was a vaccine developed for papilloma, PVC? They start giving it to our kids, and I got for my daughters too, and many things like that. I mean, so we have trusted all our lives on this medical healthcare system, the approval process, how FDA goes through a rigorous review of the making sure that it's not hurting you, it's not toxic in your body. So if it's just a matter of trusting that process, I think we should all trust that process, because all of the drugs out there, all of the treatment therapies go through that process. If we trust everything else, we should trust vaccine
I
development
like that
too.
point you mentioned, because once upon a time, not so much nowadays, but once upon a time, before you travel to a foreign country, you had to get a vaccination.
Yes.
You had to get yellow fever, cholera, and even till now, before you go to Saudi Arabia for Hajj, you got to get what is called meningitis. And really and truly, people never question if they should get the vaccine or they shouldn't. They just took it and traveled.
They just took it and
It has just been reduced a little bit, but there are still some countries that got little red tapes and signals about vaccines if you're coming from certain other countries.
Exactly, and I don't know if it's still happening. My kids are grown now, so I don't remember that. Sometimes colleges also, universities and colleges also required to get vaccination before you start your school.
Before you started pre-K, the
Right.
kids had to come with a immunization card
Right.
that shows that they were vaccinated for certain things.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel that this process of approval and safety there's no question about this. And this particular vaccine for COVID has been tested on so many people, and we are seeing, we're together collecting data on that. So I mean, if someone feels that they should not get vaccine for their beliefs, and people have different beliefs, and we should all respect that, that's fine.
Yes.
But questioning the processes is something I think people should not do that, because every
So you were
drug-
saying that if somebody, from their belief and their opinion, they don't want the vaccine, excellent, that's their choice.
Yes, that's their
But
choice.
they should not question the process.
Right.
Because you're an expert in the process. This is what you guys do.
That's what we
in
do.
clinical research and the development of a drug, the development of a vaccine, the whole idea of making it possible. That's your field and your department in the university.
Right, and CDC and FDA, they do good job, very good job, making sure that process is rigorous. I mean, everybody, we are all human, right? Mistakes can happen. There can be still adverse events,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And that's something that's part of life, right?
Yeah.
You cannot avoid those. So we cannot say that, not even a single person should die with any adverse event. We know that that's not going to happen. Things happen, right? So, but I mean, we can all see how it took time to develop these vaccines, but we have controlled that pandemic. I mean, there more strains are being developed, but we have gone through a lot. We have lost a lot of lives, but we have controlled it. So it's not, and it's, I mean, I feel that it's because of vaccination and, of course, precautions. So, I mean, I trust that process, and I trust vaccines, and I
Well, that's your
back
profession.
myself.
That's your job.
Exactly.
Listen, that's the field you are in. They got to
Right.
consult you if a person wants to come up with a vaccine or drug.
Yeah.
You're the kind of person they will discuss the idea with, and you will send them through the process. So if you don't believe in that process, then you have to change your job, right?
Absolutely.
You got to change your career. I'm like that. You might have to change your business too, right? But we have been speaking for 45 minutes now, and we gotta close. We gotta conclude this show now. But just one thing, you were mentioning at some point in time off the show the research idea of developing a vaccine for cancer?
Yeah, so at
Tell us in a
University-
few minutes about that.
Sure. So at University of Miami, I'm part of that research where we have developed a vaccine from cells. Most of my work revolves around cells from human. We believe in curing or treating people from cells which come from human. So we have Sylvester Cancer Center is one of the top cancer research institute in University of Miami, and I have helped my colleagues developing a vaccine, cancer vaccine for mainly glioblastoma and sarcoma patients. It's a very deadly disease, and they have done a 47 patient trial which ended right before COVID, and right now is in process of analyzing data, and we will be publishing soon. And it is it was for patients who usually have few months left, and the vaccine helped them. So as soon as data is out, we all can see that. And right now, I'm also helping my another team of my colleagues developing another cancer vaccine. We just went through the process of getting approval from FDA, and basically early next year we will be starting our clinical trial to test that vaccine also on patient with cancer. So I'm very excited about our second project too. Our first project did very well, and I cannot wait to start that clinical trial.
Wow. And we would love you to come back on the show that we could talk about it.
Oh, absolutely.
After you guys get over and you get your results. I mean, it is a vaccine, and I think people got to understand that there are different types of cancer and different types of things that people go through. But, you know, it is interesting to at least get a vaccine that can generally help some level and some area of cancer. And it will be able to be specific for certain types of cancer, of course, because cancer is a very wide field.
Exactly.
But that will be interesting. I would love to have you come back on the show and you guys get some results in some areas that we can let the world know. I mean, that's how you help people.
Exactly.
And I think we will be blessed, and people who learn from that and get motivated and just mentally and psychologically to know they took a vaccine for cancer, that in itself might make them feel healthier.
Right,
You know the psychology behind it. Anyhow, we got to close, but you tell us, what would you like to say in the last couple of seconds before we close the show down?
Yeah, I just want to say that for women especially, that it's, you know, definitely you need to have motivation and you have to have inspiration to be able to excel in your career. But we as a mother, what, you know, in our society, Muslim women, I wanted was, I mean, I don't have boys, I have girls, but I want to say to women that it's important to have determined and inspired and motivated women for to excel in your career. But what is important for us to raise boys who can grow up in a man, respect women, and allow women to do what my husband allowed me to do. He basically supported me with everything I wanted to do, and he let me follow my dreams, and he was always there for me. So as a woman who wants to see women doing well in this society, we have to make sure that we raise boys who respect women.
I like that. So you're telling the mothers out there especially, raise their sons so their sons can respect mothers and daughters and wives. I love that. That's interesting.
Raise them well.
Well, thank you very much. It has been a pleasure and a blessing to have you on our show and to come at Alhikmat Studio. Feel free to come again and anytime, and every time you have some kind of new development on your researches, we would love to be on that to talk about it and let the world know, inshallah.
Thank you so much. It is my honor to be here and talk to you, and definitely I'll come back.
Thank you very much. And to our viewers out there, it has really been a pleasure talking to Dr. Aisha Khan from here, South Florida, who is the Executive Director at the University of Miami in the Interdisciplinary Stem Cell Institute. She's a professor and a scientist. And those of you who just tuned in and you missed the show, well, you can check it out on YouTube or social media. Very educational, very scientific, very deep. I have indeed learned a lot and benefited a lot, and I'm sure that the viewers out there would have definitely benefited a lot from her conversation and learned a lot about her and her experience, her research, and the department that she is into. So always stay tuned to Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.